I want to introduce Dr. Leah Haynes, my co-founder and co-author, and Kevin Caldwell, the smartest game guy in the room. And we're going to talk about tutoring, sort of ChatGPT AI-ish, and maybe even Amazon Echo-ish. The tools we have now that can be substituted for tutoring or augmented tutoring. And so I think that one of the things that we want to know is a little bit about how are the kids of today going to deal with these tools of tomorrow. And I would love to get a consensus here, probably from a technical game side from Kevin and from an academic education side from Leah. And I will just pontificate with no basic skill set at all. So with that, we'll take it off.
Kevin, do you want to go first?
I was going to defer to you.
Okay.
That's a tough one.
I will say a couple of things about this. I know parents are really worried about screen time, but the truth is this generation is going to be on screens the majority of their life. That is it's the way information is going to be delivered. It's the way entertainment's going to be delivered. It's the way they'll communicate with each other. So I sort of push that one to the side. I'm more concerned with what they're doing on the screen than how much time they're on the screen. And the tutoring, I mean, already, as you mentioned, Nolan, with Echo or Alexa or Siri, they're all there to answer questions. And they don't always give you the right information. So you have to also do your own, a bit of research after the fact. But I'm more concerned with whether the student learned the information than I am how they got access to the information. So I think tutoring companies are scrambling a bit right now because they know that this is going to take a real bite out of what they've been doing in tutoring. But I'm encouraged by it. I'm not so worried about it.
Yeah, the accuracy of the result from some of the AI tools is definitely my biggest concern. And you know, being a fairly consistent user of ChatGPT and sort of exploring what it's capable of, that accuracy piece is really my biggest concern.
Yeah, and I met a 5th grade teacher in Texas who was teaching her students how to recognize academic writing. Like 5th grade. I didn't look at academic writing until I was in college. So, and she's not requiring that they use it to write with, but she wanted them to know how to decide whether something was real or not, whether it was authentic and whether the information was vetted. And that is an excellent way to do that. But certainly not all elementary and high school students are being given that kind of training. Where are you on this, Nolan?
Well, I think that we as adults struggle with what's truth and not. I mean,
yes.
You know, unfortunately, we live in a world where there's no gold standard anywhere, and that's kind of problematic. But it's a reality of life, and so I think that the thing that I try to fight with automatically is the bots that think they know who I am. And as a result, I will very often have 2 different screen names for the same service. And one will be my Republican me, and the other one will be my Democratic me, because I want to see both sides. And it's basically 2 different universes. There's very different truth on each side, and it's really kind of comical to see what it is. And I find I was first confronted with this in a very, very real way when I joined the debate club in my high school. And in high school debate, you have to prepare a case. There's always a standard proposition that all debate from all the senior high school classes have. and you have to have an affirmative and a negative on everything. And I was amazed how my mind was malleable, that I could get really behind it as the affirmative. And then as I worked on the negative, I got really into that. And so what's happening here? I felt like I was becoming increasingly a fraud.
Well, I think it actually builds empathy, right? Like because at the bottom of it, on both sides, there are arguments that have validity. It's
Yeah.
just that somehow we've lost faith in the the truth. Like we don't trust the truth. We don't know, as a society, we no longer seem to know where we can get real facts and real
I think your word empathy was good, because what we really, since you have to do something, and I'm here and the opponents are there, maybe the best solution is something in the middle. And
Right.
because if one side is happy, the other side's unhappy. If we're both just kind of unhappy, the world would probably be a better place.
Well, I think that was the value and the thinking behind a two-party system, wasn't it? That we would come together. Just something has happened in our culture, and the coming together no longer happens. Like there used to be a lot of friends on both sides of the aisle. They'd go out to dinner after, argue in the house, but go out to dinner after and be okay with it. And somehow we've lost that. Anyway, we've kind of gotten away from tutoring and gotten into another.
Okay, Kevin.
No.
Your time to opine.
Yes, you.
I was reflecting on something I had heard, and I've never taken a debate class, but had come across some bit of information that was related to intellectual sort of integrity or honesty in a debate, which is like, to really engage in an intellectually honest debate, you have to have both sides able to reflect the other's opinions, like honestly and truthfully, and sort of have the opposing side sort of affirm, yes, that is what I'm talking about. And then to take that information and still be able to argue, for whatever your position is, while addressing those concerns, right? Or deciding that they're not sort of as important and making that argument as well. And I think that that's kind of coming into tutoring, something that needs to be part of the skill set as a child is engaging with an AI tutor, and even a real tutor, is to really be able to reflect back the information that they're being presented, and sort of compare it with what they think they know, and then sort of give it back and confirm, like, is this correct? Do you mean this, right? Here's the problem that I'm confronted with. You're telling me this that doesn't quite line up with what I know. What am I missing? What's in the middle? And that sort of analysis and filtering is perhaps like going to be a really important skill. And that's what I've seen in my interfacing with ChatGPT and some of the other AI services, is really like an affirmation. Wait, you said this just a minute ago, and now you're telling me this. It doesn't really line up. Like, what's the matter? And then it says like, oh, you're right. I've forgotten about these other 10 things. But yeah, that was what came to mind as you guys were discussing that, and I was like, there is something there that is applicable to tutoring and AIs and how they operate and how they work.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think AI is just going to get better and better over time. So we'll watch that one with some degree of interest, won't we? But I think that's it for today.
No tools are better than no tools.
Exactly. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Nolan. We'll see you all soon.
You good all.